Have you ever stared at the ceiling late at night and thought to yourself, is this it? Maybe everything that used to excite you now feels pointless. You wake up, go through the motions, smile when you should, but inside it feels like something's missing.
If you've ever felt this way, you're not broken. You might be going through what's called an existential crisis.
It's not just some fancy term from a philosophy book. It's a moment where the life you've been living starts to feel like it doesn't fit anymore. And as scary as it sounds, it could be the start of something real. An existential crisis happens when you start asking big questions about life, purpose, identity, and meaning. Why am I here? What's the point of all this? Am I living a life that's really mine? It's like realizing that the ladder you've been climbing might be leaning against the wrong wall.
You begin to question everything: your job, your relationships, your beliefs. Things that once made sense start to feel empty. Psychologists say this is a kind of existential anxiety, a deep discomfort we feel when we realize how free we truly are and how responsible we are for creating a life that matters.
Let me introduce you to someone. Alex. Alex always did the right things. Graduated top of their class, landed a good job, climbed the ladder fast. From the outside, Alex had it all together.
But one day, after a big promotion, Alex sat alone in their apartment, staring at the floor, feeling absolutely nothing. No pride, no joy, just a hollow echo inside. Why does none of this matter to me anymore? They stopped returning texts. Work became a blur. They started questioning if this life they'd worked so hard for was ever really their dream to begin with. That was the beginning of their existential crisis, not with a bang, but a quiet unraveling.
Alex's story isn't unique. This happens to people all over the world every single day. It can be triggered by anything: graduating, losing a job, getting divorced, losing someone you love, or just waking up one day and realizing you don't know who you are anymore. We spend so much of life following scripts. Get a job, find a partner, be successful, be normal, be productive. But eventually, those scripts stop working, and we start asking, if I wasn't doing all of this for them, what would I do for me? That question, that tension, is where an existential crisis begins. This isn't a new problem. In fact, some of the greatest thinkers in history have tried to make sense of it. Soren Kierkegaard called it the sickness of the soul, not a physical illness, but the pain of not living as your true self. Nietzsche said, we must destroy false meaning to create something real. That sometimes we have to let everything fall apart to rebuild something honest. And Jean-Paul Sartre said, existence precedes essence. In other words, you're not born with a purpose. You make your purpose through the choices you make and the life you live. Scary? Yes, but also incredibly freeing. So what does it feel like to go through this? Sometimes it feels like numbness. Other times it's anxiety or restlessness or even deep sadness. You might feel like you're floating, disconnected from everything, like you're living someone else's life, like nothing matters anymore.
But that discomfort, that pain, isn't just suffering. It's a signal. It's your deeper self knocking on the door, asking you to wake up.
So, what now? What do you do when your world starts to crack? Here's what helped Alex, and what might help you too. First, don't run from the discomfort. Sit with it. Write it down. Ask yourself real questions. Second, question the story you've been living. Are your goals yours or someone else's? An existential crisis doesn't mean you're lost. It means you're searching, for something real, not a life that just looks good, but a life that feels true. So maybe the real question isn't, what's the meaning of life, but simply, what will I choose to make meaningful now? This is Mindlense, where your thoughts find depth.